And this right here is why American comic books are in such decline and manga is dominating them to the point where Disney is just giving up. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we should start buying a couple of anime studios because we're not doing a good job here. And also, I've seen like American cartoons now, like trying to imitate anime. Like they're just completely giving up. So you gotta wonder, like, how is a society which was dominating the entire entertainment industry worldwide end up with comic books that no one wants to buy? And this is the best example, right? Like here you have Mr. Daniel Warren Johnson, which, as you can see, is a comic book writer, and he wrote Murder Falcon, The Moon is Following Us, Argent Star Transformers, blah 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 blah. And he's got like 4.7 million views. And so he decided to make this, I guess, like political statement, right? So in other words, he just says, I don't want to sell my comics to everyone. Like, I'm not interested in doing business with everybody, which doesn't really make sense when you're actually part of a niche industry, right? Like, the comic books don't have, like, that many fans in 2025. And so you're already, in a small sector of the market, and you're like, yeah, I don't even want the entire small sector. Like, I just want the fringe. And so he's showing Batman, I guess, brutalizing a man of the law, right? And the brutalization is also pretty harrowing. Like, as you can see here, like, he broke his fingers. He's choking the man. Absolutely ghastly. Absolutely ghastly. So basically, the reason Batman is doing this is because the man is part of the border control. Like, he is enforcing national sovereignty and is basically saying that if you want to come to America, you have to come legally, right? Because, like, if you don't come legally, we can assume that you're a smuggler. We can assume that you're a terrorist. Like, why else would you come through the back door? Well, what possible reason could you have in order not to be like everyone else and come through the proper channels? And so what the comic book writer is saying is that if you agree with the rule of law, then Batman should hurt you. Or Batman should hurt the people that enforce the law. So the interesting thing is, like, this guy did not create Batman. Like, obviously, he's not the original writer. He joined the corporation. Like, he joined the company where they given him a character, and this is the way he shows respect. And so, if you're a right-winger, okay, like, if you're a person that genuinely believes in national sovereignty and you're not an anarcho-communist, why would you give money to this company that hired this man in order to push far-left extremist propaganda? Like, it's in against your interest, right? Because, like, this company is then going to advocate for your way of life to go down. Because, like, that's why people are right-wing. They believe that the way of the left is not good for them, right? Economically, ideologically, spiritually. And so, like, there is absolutely no financial or moral incentive to keep buying Batman comics or to support the company that hires such people. And this would work, like, I would say, like, hiring such people would make sense if they would also have, like, other comic book writers that make right-wing stories. Like, then it would make sense. Like, you'd have a company that has, like, certain comic book writers that are left-wing and certain comic books writers that are right-wing. And so, like, it would balance it out, like, sure, like, maybe some people won't buy Batman, they would buy some other superhero that's right-wing. But no, like, the comic book industry has consistently and systematically only hired far-left weirdos at the expense of everyone else. And so, like, they become political. And if they become political, then people have to vote with their money. And, of course, this is not the first time we see this. And people are actually making fun of this. Right? Like, they're making all these memes saying, this is my favorite cartoon character and would agree with my politics. But this is, like even this, right? Even this, if you're making, like, an actual business and you're trying to sell comic books, you wouldn't do this. Like, notice how Japan, who is selling manga, they're not doing this. Like, do you actually know, what the activist organizations are in Japan or what their politics are? I don't know, but, like, I'm reading manga. I'm reading a lot of Japanese stuff, and I still, like, have no idea which are the two parties of Japan or What are they supporting, or right? Because they actually want to do business. They want to sell entertainment. They don't want to sell this type of shit. And of course, like you have the left saying, of course, like everything is political. But they use political in the broadest sense imaginable, right? Like they say One Piece is political because it has monarchy and stuff. So like they use the most broad sense in order to then apply politics in the most narrow sense imaginable. This one is my favorite. Like this one is just so spot on. Like you have Batman here saying, yo, Batman, want to help Gotham stop beating people up and start giving more money to social services. And this is a leftist talking point, right? Like they usually hate Batman with a passion. And they're basically saying that, Batman should actually use money in order to donate to charity. Which, by the way, like any person that actually did read Batman growing up, like they would know that he already does that. Like Batman, through Bruce Wayne, has many philanthropist endeavors. He actually does help people. While during the night, he dresses up like a bat and beats up criminals, right? So, like, he does do that. But not to mention, like, it's a comic book. Like, the story would be incredibly boring if it would just be, like, Batman going to work and then donating money to charities, right? Like, again, the left just doesn't understand entertainment. But this one really hits home because it's like, yo, Batman, if you want to help Gotham, stop beating people up and start donating to charity. And Batman says, so, like they do in the real world in cities of LA and Chicago. Like Scat Francisco and Chicago. By the way, like this is just on his personal Twitter, right? So while you can ignore it and can say, well, I mean, he's got freedom of speech and whatever, which, to be fair, like, some people will say, okay, that's fine. If they wouldn't have seen right-wingers also going on their personal Twitter and posting a take and then getting fired, right? It's the same problem that I talked before. It's like if companies were to hire right-wingers and left-wing people, like this wouldn't be a problem. But we get to notice what happens to Gina Carano and other right-wing figures when they post stuff. But I've also seen like this stuff posted in the comic books consistently and systematically, right? Like within the actual pages of the comic books. You had characters like Red Skull that they tried to say he's like Jordan Peterson, or they tried to make him look like Donald Trump, or they got Red Skull to talk against immigration. So like they actually take characters from within the comic books and subvert them. One of them was like Superman against the Klan. Like, my God, like that was one of the worst examples of subversion. This was before 2020. They decided to remake Superman against the Klan. And it costed like $19 or some shit like that. I was like, who the fuck is paying for that? Like, who pays so much? And the answer is like the libraries, right? Because like they had contracts with school libraries so that they buy those comics on bulk. And that's how they were going to make money. Because like no one reads that shit. And the thing that they did is like the Klan was now against immigration, right? And so the idea was to convince kids that if their parents are against immigration, then they're like the Klan. And Superman wouldn't like their parents. Like incredibly subversive shit like that, man. And people are fed up. Like if you look at Japanese manga, they don't do that. Like they flat out just don't do that. And this is why they constantly attack Japanese mangas. And now apparently like they're calling people who read that pedophiles and shit. Like they're throwing every accusation, including the kitchen sink, just to try to get manga to police itself, to sanitize itself, and to become like this shit. And this is why gatekeeping is important, because like I don't want like the most popular form of entertainment to start becoming like this. You know, hopefully America is actually going to pick up the slack and revert the massive, the catastrophic damage that was done to the comic book industry in these last couple of years. And hopefully, you know, that they're going to go back to doing what they used to do that was working, which is the comic book industry in the early 2000s and the late 2010s. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.